All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us. This time, Nick and I are going to talk to David Tal. If you haven't seen Agentology and Lab Coat Agents, you probably haven't visited Lab Coat Agents for a while. It's all over the place, and we're so lucky to talk to him today because we're going to be talking about the sequence of getting in touch with those leads that come through, whether they come from Realtor.com, Facebook, Zillow, wherever they're coming from. He's made the process so much simpler for us and automated it so that we have a higher success ratio. So today we've got David Tal. David, tell us a little bit about Agentology and anything else you'd like to share, man.
Sure. Thanks for having me here. Very excited to be talking to your community. So Agentology, what we're doing is we're helping real estate agents engage and qualify their internet leads. Agents are generating a ton of leads online nowadays, and rightfully so. But with so much going on, and you're helping clients around, and you're driving to different properties, negotiating deals, doing what you do best, leads are coming through in real time that you're not engaging effectively and quickly to be able to convert them at the highest ratios possible, let alone to do all of the follow-up necessary to engage them, and to do this with real humans. And so what we're trying to do is really bring the power of an ISA team, the power of having your own inside sales team, to every agent that's generating leads online.
All right, so that's hugely different than what we've seen out there before, because we've seen AIs and stuff where it's more. Tell me, are you guys?
Sorry?
There it is. There was just a little. It was a little staticky. So that's a little different. I mean, we've seen companies like Riley, Agent Legend. They have this automated system, but you added one piece, and that's a live person actually calling them. Besides sending a text and doing the email and all that, how do you think that's changed the engagement for all the leads?
Well, I think, and by the way, Riley and Agent Legend are great services as well. We're a little different in different ways, but they're great services as well. And Riley does have humans texting leads, as well as some automation. But we use a combination of texting, calling, and emailing leads with our ISA team, with our human team based right here in San Diego. You could see some of them back here.
So everybody that's calling is US based?
Yeah, not just US based, but in San Diego, in our headquarters here.
Oh, nice.
So we have a big coaching culture, constantly training them up, monitoring quality assurance, improving scripts, script training. Getting a little static. Do you hear that over there too?
Yeah, Nick? I hear it on your end, I think.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Nick, where do you
I'm good, man. I hear it. I'm good. I don't hear anything.
Let me see if it's mine. Hold on.
I hear everything, but I don't hear anything that would sound bad to me.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it. Maybe it's just us.
Fixed it.
Great. We're just electrifying, and it creates. So that's what we're doing. And so what we're really trying to do is bring that human connection to the online leads world. The idea being that, 15 years ago, how would a real estate agent meet a client? Mainly people were walking in to their offices and meeting an agent face to face, and that human connection was made right away, right? You had floor time, right? If you guys remember doing floor time
Dude, all the time.
Right. And that's how I started off as an agent and a broker. And I used to do floor time. That's how I used to generate a lot of business from people walking into my office and creating that human connection right away. Nowadays, that same buyer and seller is online in their pajamas at night or during work. They're filling out a form on Zillow or on your website. And it's not the same kind of lead. It's really more of a possible lead, if you will. And you haven't met that person. And so while technology has been great at empowering the consumer to do a lot more research on their own first and go on Zillow and these websites to do more digging around earlier on, it's also at the same time eroded that human connection that used to be made earlier on in that customer journey. So what we're trying to do is to bridge that gap and to bring back that human connection to those online leads by responding to them humanly and on behalf of the real estate agent within minutes, 24/7, and initiating an intelligent conversation to qualify them and set them up for success, to hand them off as a warm handoff to our agent partners, so they can be set up to succeed with those clients.
It's interesting that you say, that it's a possible lead, right? So, I mean, you guys will reach out to leads at any time of the day. So if an agent wants you to actually reach out to a lead, at 2:00 in the morning, if that lead comes in through realtor.com at 2:00 in the morning, they request a showing, right? Yeah. I mean, how many agents do you think would actually send that text message or send that email? Most of them probably not. I can't tell you how many times I wake up in the morning and I've got actual, like in my inbox, people who have requested to see properties and they were contacted, at 2:00 in the morning. And believe it or not, for the most part, if they're requesting to see homes at 2 in the morning, they're awake. They are awake, you know? And if you make that touch, I mean, it may as well be a slam dunk at that point, because you're actually contacting them when they least expect it. And for the most part, they appreciate it.
Yeah, and 25% of leads come in after hours. Agents, you may want to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, but as we all know, leads are coming in throughout the day, 25% of them after hours, a huge percentage on weekends. And, agents cannot be slaves to their phones. And also, you're going to be sleeping a good amount of that time, hopefully. So, in a world, it sounds like a movie, like in a world where, leads are no longer exclusive. Multiple agents, receive the same lead. Who's going to get to that lead first? So if you wait till the next morning to call some of those leads, to engage them by text, however you do it, chances are someone may have gotten to them before you. And that's just a missed opportunity on 25% of your leads. So
David, we have a few questions and I want to ask them before they pile on here, because there's quite a few. First one was by Linda. Can I set the hours for replies?
Not currently. That is a request we've received. So you can set your kind of Agentology hours. So if you have someone in-house that you want to handle everything from 9 to 5 and you want us to do weekends and nights, you will be able to have that setting in the coming couple of months ahead. So we're working on that feature.
Well, by the way, they're not reaching out as you. I mean, they're reaching out as your associate. So if somebody does request, I would assume that at 2:00 in the morning, you're not going to make a phone call, but you might send a text or an email. And believe it or not, I leave those on unless it's an autoresponder where I physically can't reply and it's not a human being doing it, that's a different story. But hey, if a lead comes in at 2 in the morning and I'm sleeping and a human being is going to be reaching out to them, by all means, go for it. As long as they're not physically calling them, which I think is probably not the wisest, but a text could definitely be a conversion, So
two comments on that, and I'm glad you brought them up. The first is that, correct, we contact them on your behalf, but not pretending to be Nick Baldwin. No one can pretend to be Nick Baldwin.
Well, stop it.
When we call we say, hey, this is David on behalf of the Nick Baldwin and Associates team. We represent ourselves as an assistant of yours or a client care coordinator. Just to make it feel like your team is responsive and around the clock, and elevating your kind of importance so that we can set that up for you. Secondly, we do not initiate a phone call at 2 a.m. if a lead comes in. We will send a text right away and say, hey, I know it's late, but saw your request, wanted to get back to you. Let me know if you want to check. And most people want to just kind of text back and forth in the middle of the night. But if someone requests us to give them a call, we will call them at 2 in the morning. We just won't, pick up the phone and call them before being requested specifically to do so. But we have a lot of phone conversations late at night. And we have to remember that people have all sorts of different work schedules. There are people working graveyard shifts. There are people working all sorts of different shifts. They don't all work 9 to 5 like we do. And we have to be accommodating to the consumers that we're serving.
So you're saying that you're having pillow talk with a lot of these leads at 2:00 in the morning? Is that what you're doing?
Yes. Our voices get softer, deeper. It helps. It helps convert. So
nice. There's a couple questions here. John Smith has a lot of questions. Okay, well, they're really good questions that we're probably going to cover anyway. So how many times do you touch these? How many times do you touch these leads in the middle of the night, David? No, how many times do you reach out to these leads over the course of however long it is?
So we make a total of 10 attempts over a 5-day period using a combination of texting, calling, and emailing.
Got it.
So and we really blitz the first 24 hours. That's where we do the majority of it. In the first 24 hours, we're making a few texts, a couple phone calls just in the first 24 hours. And in the first few hours, quite frankly, that's when we're really blitz them, because that's when we get the highest conversions is immediately. On our first text that we send somebody, we offer to give them a call. So we know that most people will not answer the phone call from a number they don't know. So what we do is we'll send them a text right away to say, hey, just got your, this is David calling on behalf, this is David on behalf of the Nick Baldwin and Associates team. Saw you were interested at 123 Banana Street on Zillow. How can we help? And is now a good time? I'd be happy to give you a call. Something to that extent where we offer the consumer to engage them on their terms and then the preferred method of contact. So if they prefer to text back, great, we're texting already. If they say, yeah, it's easier, just give me a call, we pick up the phone and we call them, but now they pick up the phone almost every time because they're literally expecting it. So that combination, that hybrid is really powerful. And it's important to, there are different services out there that offer different levels of this, but it is important to make sure that no matter what you use, make sure you're covering for calling as well as texting, because on average, 15 to 20% of your leads will enter a landline or a voice over IP number that cannot be texted. So if you're not even trying to call them, when you're just texting them and getting no response and you just ignore them because they didn't respond, you're wasting all of those leads. Secondly,
Well, wait, real quick. You guys can tell when it's a landline and a text and a cell phone?
Absolutely.
That's actually a very good point to make.
Yeah, and a lot of people as well will prefer calling. The older generation just prefers to hop on a call and give you the info. My parents, they hate typing, right? Surely the trend is going towards texting, and the majority of the conversations we have happen via text, 70%, but 30% of our conversations still happen via phone call, and they convert at a very high rate, because when you have someone on the phone, you have their unlimited attention. They're not distracted. They sense the empathy and the caring that we come across with, and they take you much more seriously than just a text with, again, they haven't even heard your voice. So it's important to text because that's how most people prefer to communicate. And when they're filling out a form during work hours, they can't pick up the phone and they're just going to text back and forth. But you have to offer a phone call. Otherwise, you're really missing a big opportunity.
Got it. It makes a lot of sense. So, where are a majority of the leads that are coming from? I'm assuming they're mostly Realtor, Zillow, Trulia, that type of stuff, right?
Yeah. So we work with every lead source and every CRM. And I would say as a single source, the couple biggest cohorts are Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia, the big portals. However, they probably make up 35% of our total lead volume that we manage. And we manage over 100,000 leads per month now. And
100,000?
Over 100,000 now.
Wow, okay. That's pretty amazing.
So about 35,000, 40,000 of those are from Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia. And then there's all sorts of other great lead sources out there as well. But the majority are coming from those big guys. But the bulk of it, if you made them all one cohort, would be individual agents' IDX websites.
Huh.
Where you're driving Google and Facebook traffic to.
Okay.
So they're technically a separate source, but if you add them all up as agent websites, they're the biggest. They make up probably 45% or so of the total.
They're the bigger chunk. So, for example, Nick and I both run Ylopo leads, right? So they come through Facebook or Google through there. And I know half of my leads are also from Agent Zip, and I know you guys get those. So here's what I've seen, because we've been running this for now 2 months with you guys. And I was running Agent Legend by itself, and now I have Agent Legend and Agentology together, which I think is the perfect combo for me.
Yeah.
And all of my leads are Facebook lead ads and some Google. That's it. I don't have Realtor.com. I don't have Zillow. And so what I've noticed is when I combined both of them with leaving Agentology on first for the first 5 days, like it does, right? And bringing in Agent Legend on day 3 or 4, all of a sudden my response rate went from about 51% to over 70%. Now I have 70% response rate for Facebook ads, and I'm getting from Agent Zip and from Ylopo. That's huge for me, man. Like all of a sudden,
I think that's
like Zillow and Realtor.com leads, right?
I think that's a great example of of how agents drop the ball immediately when a lead comes in. Like, there are hard statistics from companies like Follow Up Boston. I'm sure David has statistics as well that, on average, a lead, you need to reach out to a lead at least 5 times to get a response. And from using Agentology and Agent Legend and, a couple of these other guys, we're seeing that that's true. A lot of my responses actually come on, day 2 when I've reached out 5 times. And, how many agents say, oh, these leads stink, but how many texts or phone calls or emails are they actually making? And so when you have an opportunity to leverage that, believe it or not, people appreciate the attention, and they appreciate the fact that you are continuously following up with them. Everyone has busy schedules. Everybody has things going on. And I can't tell you how many times I get a thank you for following up, as opposed to leave me alone. I would say the leave me alones are very few and far between. And the thank you for following up and the apologies. I'm sorry I haven't gotten back to you. It's like, it's unreal, right? I've never seen this before. So if you think it's too much, it's not. It's not too much, because when the statistics say that 50% of leads don't even get one response, you imagine the frustration of someone on Realtor.com or Zillow actually wanting to see a home and nobody contacts them. Can you imagine that frustration? I mean, come on, be that agent that gets in touch with them. And 78% of people work with the first agent that even calls them, not physically meets, calls them or gets in touch with them. 78%. So there is a need for that continuous follow-up.
Well, there's a huge need, and Zillow saw it at the very beginning. They're like, you know what? We're having a huge lack of agent responses, so let's build out something for our agents and have our own ISAs call, right? Which is pretty cool.
Right.
They're limited into what they can do, but it's a good system. But I think David took it to another level, because David, you guys do 10 touches in 5 days. The first 5 days you do 5 touches, right? The first day. The
first day we do 5 touches in the first day.
All right. So how does that look for a lead coming through? Because somebody listening to that is going to be, well, I think that's too much, right? I think that's too little, but 5 is good. 5 is like right in the middle. So tell us how that looks.
Tristan's showing up at their house like before they even request to see the property. So,
with my Agentology shirt.
Oh, did we say that Agentology is actually psychic? They can tell you when someone's gonna reach out to you before they do. So Tristan showed. No, they don't do that. But
so just sign up right now.
Yeah. So anyway,
we as much as we're an ISA company, we're just as much a data and analytics company. We are looking at what works. We're not basing our cadence and our order around emotion, like what it feels right, like 5 times. That seems like the right number. We've been testing stuff over 2 years to figure out, and we continue to adapt to what works absolutely best based on the data. And so we used to, for example, we used to call first. And when we changed to texting first and offering to call on the text, it worked far better, almost 50% better. So we changed. And every one of these, even the times in between texts, in between calls, all of that is designed based on data and based on when people are going to be most likely to answer and respond. Same with the follow-ups, and same with, the kind of texts and scripts that we actually use. Those are all being A/B tested constantly to see what works best, and that's how we devise it. So, it's important to reach out certainly right away and a couple of times in the first 2 hours. That's when you have their attention. Now, this person filled out a form and said, "Get a hold of me. I want more info." It's our duty to do so. Now, I agree. It's annoying sometimes to get calls over and over and over again from companies that you did not request info from. But I've never felt annoyed at a company that was persistent in trying to, engage me when I inquired. In fact, that made me feel more confident in their service, thinking, wow, these guys are on it. These guys are responsive. And from a real estate's perspective, hey, this is how I'm going to treat your listing. This is how I'm going to treat all interested buyers in your listing, right? I'm just as persistent with them. And we feel that people really do appreciate that. And yeah, you're going to get the people who tell you to bug off. But we want to get those. We want to be told when someone is not interested so that we can disqualify them sooner than later and let you know, hey, this person, they just fill out this info, but they're just really not interested. They don't want to be bothered. Or they tell us, you know what, call me in a month. Whatever that is, we want to get to that quickly while we have their attention. So we can pass that over to you guys and you guys can figure out how to deal with that. Going to your point about combining us with an agent legend as an example is really, really powerful, because the piece that we bring to the table is the human component. And consumers are getting pretty good at sniffing out automation and kind of chatbots. And so it's really important now more than ever to show that personal face to your team and to your brand, and to let them know you're here to help, and you're not just, oh, you fill out a form, here's an Autobot sent to you. That doesn't make them feel warm and fuzzy. But when you combine our initial efforts that are all kind of human fronted with a long-term drip solution, that to me is the perfect hybrid. It's also unrealistic to call once a day for the next year, right? And you're definitely going to annoy people with that. So it makes sense to blitz them up front when they're interested, and then set them up on a drip long-term, even for people who were interested, but say, I'm not ready for 6 months, I don't want to be bothered. And you kind of just want to keep in touch. So that's the powerful combo. And
I agree with you, man. I think that's key here. Linda's asking a good question. So she's saying that's good for leads that have actually requested info, so people that have registered and asked for more information. But what about the conversion for just people that register in general, not anybody who asks any questions about a home? How do you see that working with what you do?
So, and are we referring to people who kind of just register on your website and we don't know if they're a buyer or a seller?
So let's say, no, I think she means more like, let's say Facebook lead ads. Facebook lead ads just sometimes come in and they're just inquiring about homes in general.
Sure.
How do you do with those? I know the answer, but I want you to answer it. Like,
what's the question?
She wants to know how the conversion is for leads that are just coming in from Facebook or from Google PPC without requesting a specific showing or without requesting something specific.
So it can really vary. Now, a lot of people who are early on and earlier on and have not started to identify specific properties and gone that route are mainly starting to look for some real estate advice earlier on. And that could be a very positive thing, because you could grab their attention before they get sucked into one of the portals, and then it goes to multiple agents, and who knows if you're advertising in that zip code. So it's a very positive thing to get potential prospects early on in their interest cycle, if you will, to do so. And a lot of people are doing that nowadays, especially because the intent is going to be different on a Google versus Facebook, because on a Facebook, you're pushing something in front of their face when they didn't ask for it, right? And they go, interesting, cool, I'll click and let's see. Yeah. Right? Google, exactly. Physically type in something specific, like realtors in Miami, right? To get the ad and to get tracked there. So the intent's going to be different on those two. And it's hard for me to give you an answer on conversion rates on those, because it really depends on Facebook versus Google, very different. And where are you driving that traffic to? Every website and landing page is different and is going to convert differently. But it's important to really understand what their intent is and get to them quickly. And the way we treat those is, we have scripts for a buyer, for a seller, and for generic. And so if we know they're looking to buy specifically, we cater our script to that. If we know they're looking to sell, we cater to that. And if they're more generic, we cater to that as well. And we try to reach out and ask how we can be helpful. What are their goals? Are they looking to buy or sell? What neighborhoods? Are they moving? What's their motivation? We really try to capture who these people are. And when we qualify a lead, we're also really enhancing that lead. Usually a lead will fill out a form on any of those sites, or a Zillow or a Realtor.com, with very basic information about themselves, like the contact info mainly, maybe a property they were inquiring about. But when we have them on the phone or we're chatting with them, we're trying to gather a fuller picture of who they are and what they're looking for. And we'll go beyond just verifying that info and say, great, well, tell me a little bit more. What's your time frame to buy or to sell? Have you been pre-approved? Do you need to sell your home before you buy one? What other neighborhoods and things are important to you? Walkability. things like that. And when's a good time to start touring homes, for example. So we go a lot further than qualifying. We truly enhance the lead. So when we hand it off to you, you have a full picture of who that person is, and you can really take it from there successfully.
Hey, David. So a lot of not necessarily on this webinar, but we hear agents being concerned, with ISAs not being licensed, right? So there's certain things that unlicensed ISAs can say or ask. So, can you explain a little bit about how you gather information about the buyer or seller without, crossing the line to specific questions that only a licensed agent can ask a client?
Sure, and this is something we take very seriously, and one of our attorneys put together RESPA, the entire act. So
okay.
We take this very seriously. And obviously so does Zillow, because they're $8 billion publicly traded company, and they're doing some of this as well. So we follow a lot of the same kind of advice as them. But what we're not allowed to do and will not do is give any real estate advice. We will not talk about specific properties and details of the properties. We don't position ourselves to say we're that person to give that. We position ourselves as the assistant to the pro, to you, the agent. So that whenever they start to dig deeper and ask us questions that we know we're not allowed to kind of give advice on, that is our perfect segue to say, that is a great question. Nick is going to know that really well and be able to give you the perfect advice. When's a good time for him to reach out? So we see that as a perfect handoff opportunity at that point. And kind of our job to screen them, vet them, and identify the interest level has kind of been accomplished at that point if they're really looking to go beyond that initial conversation.
Got it. So someone's wondering, if you guys reach out over the course of 5 days or 10 days?
10 attempts over 5 days.
Okay. And so then obviously it goes back into the hands of the agent to then continue their follow-up. So is there any plans to have a longer kind of nurture campaign, or is it just Agentology's goal to try to just convert or disqualify that lead as quickly as possible so the agent can then focus on qualified leads?
Yeah. So our focus right now has been that top of funnel conversion layer that we feel is the most important. And so many CRMs already offer that long-term drip solution. That yes, we do have plans to offer kind of extended campaigns, if you will. But we feel those solutions are already available. And yes, we want to offer some as well because, it's smart to do so and helpful for the agent to have one singular experience for that as well. But agents should not wait for that. There's plenty of solutions for that already. And we're coming up with our own unique strategies to be different and to combine what we're best at, that kind of human layer to the long-term drip approach that nobody is frankly doing right now.
Cool.
So we do have plans for that.
All right. David, one question that's asked 3 times here is, can you go over the process of how the leads are contacted in the 5 days? Like text, call, email, whatever.
Sure. So I'll put an asterisk on this because again, we always identify improvements we can make and we can adjust that. But what's working really well right now that's deployed is, first of all, if it's a landline or a voice over IP, we will call it right away because we know we can't text it and we'll start just making calls right away. But if it's a mobile number, we do initiate via text first to offer to address their initial inquiry and offer to hop on a call. If they do not engage us back within 15 minutes, we send a follow-up text to kind of follow up to, hey, let us know. If they haven't responded still after 30 to 45 minutes from that point, we ask is there a better time for us to connect with you? If they don't respond to that, we start making phone calls. We make 2 phone calls pretty soon thereafter that, and we send an email. And then the following 4 days, at different times of the day, we make text messages that we send out. We send text messages out, trying to get their kind of attention back. And after the 10th attempt, which is on the 5th day, they still have not engaged they haven't responded to any of the emails, phone calls, texts. We mark it as an unresponsive lead and we send it over to the agent as we have unqualified this lead for this reason, unresponsiveness. Just like we unqualify leads for other reasons like bad contact info, not interested, already has an agent they're committed to. When they have an agent, we ask if they're committed to them. That's very important to us. But that's our cadence right now for the 5 days, and that's what's working best.
Got it. Hey, I have a question. So with 100,000 leads a month coming in, which is out of control, what's the system you guys have in place for your ISAs to remind or just kind of nudge them to continuously follow up? Because there's so many leads, right? So what's the organizational process look like for that?
So we have a engineering team of 8 people. Our biggest investment we have made over the last couple of years, and we are a venture-backed company. We have big investors behind us, and strategic, has been to develop the internal technology that you guys will never really see because it's what we have built. Not that I don't want to show it to you. I'm happy to show it to you one day when you come visit. But it's
we got to come visit. We have to come visit to see it.
Yeah.
That's the answer to the question. You guys got to come here.
We're not recording anything. But we have developed a lot of our own IP. We have developed our own inside sales platform that makes our team hyper efficient around the clock to accomplish this. It's a logistical feat. We've brought in a ton of experts. We've invested a lot of money in having really smart engineers, and we're continuously improving that. But yeah, the answer is we've developed it custom for our exact needs.
That's awesome. Yeah, because with so many leads, right? Like, there's systems for everything. It's just.
But the idea is to make it kind of brainless. So they just go next. And the order of the cadence pops up as this person needs their second attempt. This person needs their third attempt. And they're just kind of picking them off. And they have teams and there's structure to that. And there's a lot more to it than that. But that's what we're able to accomplish at scale efficiencies that allow us to offer this at a few $100 a month to an agent instead of an agent having to spend $3,000-4,000 a month for an ISA that will work 40 hours a week when we're 7 days a week, 24/7 for a couple $100.
You've got people in there in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah.
That is so cool. Tristan, we should just go and just like have a slumber party at Agentology and just be there all night long.
We'll make Agentology.
Can Tristan and I come and be ISAs for a day and see how many leads we can convert?
Absolutely.
So how much fun would that be, Tristan? You're on mute, dude. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
There. All right. Are you saying we should go over and act like ISAs?
Can we go to Agentology? Listen, I want to go to Agentology and I want to start converting leads for agents.
Dude, I want to do that for an hour. That would be so sweet.
Can we do that, David?
Yes. However, we got to train you because we go through extensive training. People get trained for almost 2 weeks before they make a single text or a phone call.
Forget it. I don't want to do that. I'm done. I changed my mind.
And it's because we take that extremely seriously.
I know you do.
We want every one of these ISAs, and our team is about 90 strong now.
Wow.
Every one of our ISAs, we feel should be the best single ISA in the nation. If any one of these ISAs were taken and hired by Tristan and poached for his own, they should be the best ISA he could ever possibly hire.
Wow.
Why do we feel that? Because, hey, when you hire your own ISA, you're the only person training them. And who's to say you're the expert on that? So what we've done is we've created a culture of coaching here where we bring experts in the field of ISA work. And they're constantly being coached, trained, role-playing. They have weekly and monthly training. Every single person on the ISA team here, everyone gets trained continuously and updated training, role-playing, objection handling, all of that kind of stuff around the clock because that is all they're doing. And we're able to monitor them and kind of grade and score them based on that kind of normalized expectation layer so that we can find inefficiencies and more importantly, find efficiencies that we can then deploy across the rest of the team for all of you agents to be able to leverage off of those increased efficiencies and improvements.
That's awesome.
All right.
I love it.
Question here.
Hey, sorry. I had a question.
John Smith has a question. He says, are you doing different follow-up for leads from Realtor.com where the leads are shared with other agents and it's a speed to lead versus Zillow or others where it's an exclusive type lead?
So the short answer is not really. We have speed to lead regardless if it's shared or not because we always assume it's going to be shared. And it's really hard for us to know how your account is set up to know if it's shared or not. A lot of agents, sadly enough, don't even know that their leads are shared from many sources. And then they find out and they're like, what? So we treat every lead like it's shared. We assume that there's other agents that are going to reach out. So we always want the speed to lead no matter what source. And so we do that. And then we have objection handlers for leads who tell us they already have an agent or they were already contacted by someone, things like that. And we treat those accordingly.
Perfect.
I had a question I was going to ask, but okay. So right now, how long has Agentology been around, by the way?
4 years.
Oh, 4 years. Okay. So right now, the scripts are not customizable. Are you guys working on customizable scripts?
We're about 4 to 5 weeks away.
Ooh, I'm excited. Okay, that's awesome. And second, so do you ever see yourselves making outbound calls for like expires and FSBOs at some point?
So this is a request we get every day. It's something that we're looking at doing in a very different way, which I don't want to publicly comment on yet because no one's doing it the way we're going to do it.
Okay.
We have a very unique way we're going to go about it, but I'll give you a couple of the reasons why we haven't done it yet. First of all, it's illegal in many states to do so. Like Texas, for example, and some companies and former competitors have actually gone out of business because they got sued over it. So we're very careful with that. Secondly, because we're reaching out humanly and we're charging agents per lead, the conversion rate is so low on older database leads that we feel there's value to using like an agent legend or some kind of a drip solution for that, but then combining it with the human touch when someone responds. There's something to be had there.
Okay, that makes sense.
We're really trying to crack, and we hope to roll that out over the next maybe 3 to 6 months, realistically.
Yeah, that'd be pretty sweet. I love that.
But we want to do what we do best, and we don't want to be a solution for everything. We want to be the best solution for something. And we're really hyper-focused on being the best at engaging fresh leads, which have the highest conversion, which is what you paid the most for. And that's where we feel we could bring the most immediate value to every agent.
So let's see. Somebody asked before, when are you able to see the script over the course of, do we answer that question? Over the course of the 5 days, like what is coming next? When someone...
So we don't show you what the next text is going to be, but we show you every text conversation we have. So you can actually see every text we send and receive from that lead. Full transparency, it's in your dashboard. We show it to you in full transparency, what we texted them, what they texted back. We also show you when we place phone calls, and soon we're going to show you the time per phone call. So you'll be able to see, this was a 10-second phone call. Clearly it was just a phone attempt. But this one was 18 minutes, right? And when we send emails, we log all of that. And if you have Real Geeks or Follow Up Boss, we log all of that directly in to your CRM. And we're trying to do this for all the CRMs. We're working with them to do that, to kind of log all of our notes and updates and chat history and communication history back into your CRMs as well.
That's awesome. So, and I know that you can claim it, right, at any time when there are conversations going on?
Absolutely. So if you get a hold of them or they finally reach out directly to you, you can just go in and tell us to end the conversation. There's just one button, and you can basically claim it from that point, and we will stop our attempts at that point.
So awesome. David, when a lead comes through, so some questions are coming through. When leads come through, I'm going to give you my system, everyone, so you know how it works. When my leads come through, they're sent over to Follow a Boss and to Agentology automatically. So that means two things happen on my end. My ISA is going to call them, and Agentology's ISAs are going to call them. They're always racing to see who's going to call first. That's just the way I have it. And it's split. Most of the time, Agentology so far has been the first ones to reach them, which is cool. And they try with a phone call and with text. Like you were saying, they usually try text first because most people are engaging through text first. And then if they get a hold of them, they send me an email, and the email breaks down everything. It breaks down name, phone, email, where the lead came from, like if it came from Agent Zip or if it came from Ylopo. And then it gives you the breakdown as to whether or not they're a buyer or a seller, and all the details. Like, yes, they can go up to $600,000. They want to buy in Malibu, and They can't afford Malibu for $600,000, so they have to go somewhere else. And a lot of information then from there, then I can send it to whoever I want. It automatically also goes into Follow a Boss, so I don't have to copy and paste it into it. And then this way, it's easy. I have all the information. I know whether to send it to my lender if they need to get pre-approved or to send it to whomever. But it comes in the form of an email and also in your CRM. That was a question that was being asked.
Yeah, and you can also refer it. So if you generate a lead, you have a lead that we qualified and sent over to you, if you don't want to work that lead for whatever reason, the price point's too low, the location's a little far away, don't ignore it, refer it. And so with one click of a button with Agentology, you can refer it. We place that lead with another trusted agent from our network that does want to work that lead. We track it for you all the way through the close of escrow. At the close of escrow, that agent will pay Agentology a 35% referral fee. We keep 10% and we give you 25%. So we give agents a really easy way to monetize and make a 25% referral fee on all of the leads that they don't want as well. And we're licensed as a real estate brokerage for the sole purpose of being able to help you with those referral fee transactions. And that kind of
nice. I was going to bring up there are referrals. That's pretty awesome.
And by the way, is by being a member, you're also then eligible to receive the referrals that are being referred by other agents.
Yeah, I think since I've been on for 2 months, I've received over 10 referrals, which is pretty nice.
Awesome.
And it's real easy. The leads come through and says, hey, here's a referral for your area. Click yes or no. Do you cover? I said, click yes. Then the lead comes through with all the information. You can call them and see if they're legit or not. It's really, really easy. I was really pleased.
Yeah, and in the dashboard, whenever you do refer a lead out, we show you with full transparency who we gave it to, what stage it's in, any updates that the agent is giving us along the way, because we require updates along the way. Any of those we log in the system so you always have access to as well. We're in it with you. We're your partner at that point, and we want to close. And we're seeing agents referring about anywhere from 7 to 12% of their qualified leads, they refer them. This is a really valuable thing because those start to come back as referral fees 3 to 6 months later.
Interesting.
That you would have never done anything with. You know, one of the reasons that half of the leads never get responded to in the industry, one of the big reasons for that is not even that the agent didn't want to respond, it's that they didn't want that lead. So they didn't even try. We're solving for a lot of that and kind of making sure it's being, siphoned to the right agent to serve that consumer. And that's creating a huge network effect in our community where, agents are getting leads from one another. And it's a really positive experience for everyone, especially for the consumer.
Awesome.
So question here, how much per lead? I know we talked about this a long time ago, but what does it come down to per lead?
So it depends on how many leads you have. It breaks down to being anywhere from $4 to $6 per lead. So call it $5 on average, right, per lead. $4 to $6 depending on your plan. We start at $295 a month for up to 50 leads. We're offering everyone on LabCoat a free 30-day trial, so make sure to take advantage of that. You don't have to pay $1 for during the trial, so take advantage of that. And then at higher volume, it comes down to closer to $4 a lead. When you're spending $20, $50, $100, $200 per lead on a lot of these sources, we feel that adding $4 or $5 to that to ensure, look at it like an insurance policy, to ensure that that lead you spent $50 on is being engaged within minutes by a really trained human ISA team and followed up with 10 times is a really strong kind of insurance layer on your leads. And what we're seeing is that we're doubling and tripling conversion rates for agents. People like Tristan, for example, and I hope you don't mind me sharing some stats. I won't give too many details, but I've been tracking your stuff. But people who already have a lot of systems in place and know what they're doing are adding Agentology and seeing about a 50% increase in engagement and conversion. Agents who have nothing in place are seeing up to 300% increase in conversions.
Wow.
So you can really, Tristan, you've seen your increase and you have a lot of systems already.
Yeah.
That layer still created a massive uptick, right?
Honestly, I was surprised. I thought with, so we get Facebook leads. I create my own sometimes, but now that we have Agent Zip and Ylopo, it's, I've really put it on them to create the Facebook lead ads for me. And I thought, 55 pushing like almost 60% lead engagement. So that means the lead would respond back, whether or not they say, yeah, I'm interested, or later, or wrong number, whatever the response is, 55% would respond back. Now we broke 70% when we combined it with Agentology. And to me, that was just absurd. I never thought that I could really break 60, let alone 70%. So to me, that was amazing.
No, yeah, it's really cool to see, because we work with a lot of top teams and agents who need this more than ever because they're buying so many leads and they're overwhelmed.
All right, so question here. Somebody says no Commissions Inc. Yeah, you know what? Great question. I have been running it with Commissions Inc. as of 20 days, and they're doing a great job with Commissions Inc. They just approved one this morning for 1.2 million, and they beat out A Inc., which is their own ISA people. So far, they're doing pretty good with Commissions Inc. Let me say I answered that. Let me see what other questions we've got here, man. What CRM are you using now, Tristan? I'm using Follow Up Boss, and I'm using Commissions Inc. Those are our two main ones. Oh,
so someone is asking about the 50 leads a month for the trial period. How many leads for the trial period are they going to get? Like, how many leads are they going to be able to send through the system? Is it 30 days or 50 leads, or is it just 30 days and
it's 30 days. It's 30 days with a limit of 50 leads. So if you go over 50 leads, we're going to let you know you hit the cap for the trial and give you the option to upgrade earlier.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, so you got, so it's for if you have a team that gets like 2,000 leads a month, you're gonna be able to try it out with at least the first 50, which is good.
Yeah, and I mean the idea of the trial is to first of all, it's about a $300 value, and it's to give you a sense of how it works. And with 50 leads through the system, you should have a good idea at that point of, hey, is this going to be helpful for my business or not? And that's really our intent.
Got it. Totally.
Somebody's saying if it works with Lion Desk, David, do you guys reciprocate with Lion Desk, like the information?
Not yet, but we're speaking to Dave Anderson about doing just that.
All right, so that's why we were using, somebody's asking, well, why am I not using Lion Desk? I do use Lion Desk, but for this specific thing, I'm using Follow Up Boss, because as soon as they get in contact with the leads, that information automatically goes into Follow Up Boss. It doesn't reciprocate with Commissions Inc., and I don't think it ever will, because they have their own ISAs. But what we do right now is we just copy paste it into it, and that's how we've been working it.
And just one note on that, we have some kind of workarounds to make some of that happen, but the way it would work is the lead would have to come to us first, say from your Zillow or your website. It could come to us. We qualify or unqualify it, and then we can send it to anywhere. So we can send it back to you or into your Lion Desk, right? Because your Lion Desk also gives you an email, right? Like a parsing unique email. That's how they receive your leads from your Zillow, right? So
right.
We can do that. So we can have your leads go to us first. We qualify or unqualify them, and then send that with the info into Lion Desk. So we still have the ability to accomplish a lot of that. It just has to come through us first. What we're trying to do with most of the CRMs is have the CRMs remain that first entry and us be able to talk two-way with that CRM. And that's what we've already accomplished very successfully with Follow Up Boss and just now with Real Geeks, and looking to do across all the other CRMs as well. We're in talks with most of them. Perfect.
So question here, Agent Legend, Follow Up Boss. Did I miss anything? Oh, yeah. Okay. Lead comes through. The way I have it is my ISA and Agentology both get in, and they try to contact them. It's kind of like a race, and Agentology is doing very well against Jacob, my ISA. It's on. And so day 3, I think we have it on day 4 now. Day 4, Agent Legend kicks in. If any of the people haven't been contacted by either my ISA or Agentology, that's when it kicks in. And then the voicemail drop, the auto text, the email, the video, that's when it goes through. And yes, everything right now is mainly running through Follow Up Boss for these, unless the lead is coming through Commissions Inc., through their PPC or their Facebook lead ad. That's separate completely. But Agentology is still reaching out to those. They said, thanks for that. Cool. We've got 7 minutes. Nick, David, any other things you want to add? Nick, any questions?
I'll just give my 2 cents on how I think agents should look at lead costs, because a lot of the questions we get is, what are the best sources? Where can you get the cheapest leads? Things like that. And my 2 cents on this is that agents should really be tracking what is their cost per qualified lead, not cost per lead, but what is your cost per qualified lead? A qualified lead, our definition, is a lead that we're able to engage with, have a communication with, a real conversation with, and that expresses interest in learning more and possibly working with you. It doesn't mean they're going to buy 100%. It just means that you've qualified them, there's not junk, and they're interested. And that's how you could really normalize understanding your ad spend across different channels and different lead sources. So I'll give you a quick example. Zillow and Realtor.com convert at the highest rates from all the lead sources we work with. 45 up to 50% in many markets, even a little higher in some markets, they convert to a qualified lead. So the quick math on that, let's say your Zillow lead costs you $50, but only 50% of them are qualified. That means your cost per qualified lead on Zillow would be $100, right? You guys follow me, I hope?
Yep.
Now, let's say you're getting leads from a different source and you're getting leads for $10 and only 10% are qualified. You're still paying $100 per qualified lead on that source. You don't judge a source based on its lower qualification rate or by its expensive price per lead. Judge it based on its price per qualified lead. That's how you're going to make the best decisions and not make emotional decisions early on before you realize what's actually working better for you.
That's true. That's a great point. All right. Nick, you want to add anything there?
No, man, I'm good. I asked a lot of. I'm all asked out.
There's so many questions, David. We have a lot of questions here. Can I just do leads from Zillow coming to you direct, where you do the first touch on it?
Yes.
Yeah. Look, guys, ladies, the best leads out there still. People ask me, why did I switch off of Realtor.com and Zillow? Honestly, for me, it was just a money play. I could get a lot more leads outside of it. It doesn't mean that the leads aren't great for Zillow and Realtor.com. They are. I've seen those. The portal leads are definitely the better leads. Agentology just proves it. You guys qualify more of those leads quality-wise than anything else, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with the Facebook leads, I mean, you're going to get more leads for a lesser price. And so it's going to be more of a matter of kind of sifting through them and picking out the really motivated ones. So, like for instance, you could probably get 1,000 leads on Facebook and then 500 from Realtor. And it just makes more sense financially to get more leads and kind of weed through them to find the ones that are a little bit more motivated. And, the cost per lead on Facebook is obviously much lower, probably a few bucks, with lead ads.
And if you have smart follow-up systems for long-term, then having volume over having a larger volume does make a lot of sense, because you'll likely pick up more of those along the way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. Great. All right, guys. I'm going to call it a wrap there. David, that's pretty sweet, dude. Behind you, you've got all those ISAs calling, right?
That's what everyone here is doing right now. They're calling, they're texting. They're having intelligent conversations with all of your leads with many thousands per day.
You know what's cool about your office, dude? When I went there, everybody was so happy.
Yeah.
Either you paid them a shit ton of money that day, or they're just happy all the time. I love that.
Water.
So thanks for coming on with us.
We love what we do. We love what we do, and we thank you guys for letting us do it with you guys and for you guys. So thank you guys.
No, I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, and listen. 30 days for free. You don't even need to think about it. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, then don't do it. But it's 30 days of zero money to see how they can convert these leads for you. It's kind of like a win-win situation. Just go for it. Give it a shot. You know what I mean? So.
All right, I will.
How I look at it.
I'm sold, Nick.
All right, thanks, David.
No. What I'm saying is it's 30 days for free. Like there's nothing to lose. You know what I mean? But there's so much more to gain, like deals. So, That's all I'm saying. That's what I mean. That's what I
Look,
mean.
it's a good ending. Just sign up. It's 30 days for free. Just sign up.
Listen, what are you waiting for?
Thanks, David. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you, guys.
everyone.
All right, bye.
Have a great day.